Am I the a-hole for telling my mom to go back to the family she replaced me with? My mom, 42, and I, 22 male, used to be really close. Like she's all I've ever had. And she's the one who taught me to be as strong as I am today. And her becoming a cop inspired my whole life. I love her so much. And I admire how strong she is. And I wish things were like how they were. Her uncle, my great-uncle, managed to bring her to Canada from Kosovo in 1999. If that helps give you guys an idea of the kind of things that she's been through. When I went to university, our relationship started changing. She disliked my girlfriends, my uni choice, wanted me to ferry home every weekend, and then I got a co-op term at a prestigious company in Vancouver. Don't ask, I'm not giving it up. That she did not want me to work for because she had a moral stance against it. I agree with her, but it was a great opportunity. I'm going to graduate at the end of the term, but I'm set for a job within the Vancouver Police Department because of it. But my mom cut me off because of it and straight up told me not to come back. So I had to move in with my great-uncle and a son, my uncle. We started messaging again half a year ago after she sent me a chain message on WhatsApp, but we've been taking it slow. I follow my mom on Instagram, but she rarely posts. And when she does, it's anti-war stuff. But then she put up this post with a caption something like, "So happy to have a real family again. Can't wait to go on my new journey." And it showed her boyfriend and her with engagement rings and an ultrasound. Like, I don't know. It just triggered something inside of me. Am I not her real family? Were we nothing? It just made me very angry. Like I'm going to have the sibling and stepfather I always wanted, and she couldn't even be bothered to tell me personally? Well, I decided to wait and see how long it would take her to call me about the news, and she just didn't. Reading break was 2 weeks ago, and at the end of it, my mom came to my great-uncle's house to pick something up. She saw me and tried acting like no time had passed, and how excited she was for my graduation and this and that. She still didn't acknowledge she's getting married. I just told her not to care about my graduation and to go back to the family she replaced me with. Left and stayed gone till she went home. My uncle told me that what I did made her cry and I was an a-hole to her. And my great-uncle told me that I should have handled things with more tact. I feel bad about it because she was reaching out to me. And everything's been frosty with my uncle since then. Now for the comments. Not an a-hole. She wrote the post that insinuated she didn't have a real family. So now the post bit her in the bum. And she kicked him out. Will she do the same to her real family if they disagree with her? To be honest, probably it's like cheaters and narcissists. They don't change. They just find you victims to fool. Not the a-hole OP. It really does seem like she no longer considers you as a family, and you just pointed that out. You have every right to feel bitter. Also consider showing your uncles the post she made. That may help them understand why you acted the way you did. Info, did you show your uncles the IG post? Ask them what were you supposed to think when she wrote, "So happy to have a real family again, can't wait to go on my new journey," and it showed her boyfriend and her with engagement rings and an ultrasound. And she shows up acting like she didn't cut you off or where you work, and nothing ever happened? No, not the a-hole. Edit. In my opinion, if she wants to reconcile, she needs to sit down with you one-on-one and explain why she did what she did. Because there's a good chance she may dump you again, especially if you do something else against her high moral standards, or if her boyfriend doesn't like you, or if she just doesn't have time anymore. Put some consistent effort into this relationship, mom, if you want one. My guess is she wanted him to grow up to be a mama's boy, forever tied to her. Instead, he became an independent adult. Not the a-hole. She's your mother. The least she could have done was to pick up the phone and tell you about the wedding and the baby. She cut you off for getting a job. Then she acts like nothing's happening and doesn't even bother telling you she's getting married, after cutting you off and kicking you out for a job. She hurt you and now you have to suck it up? She can suck up a little. Great-uncle seems to understand better than your uncle, since he said you should have been more tactful, not that you shouldn't have said it at all. Not the a-hole. She needs to understand that the lack of relationship now is her fault, not yours. Next story. Am I the a-hole for losing it on my fiancé for disinviting my stepsisters from our wedding? I'm gonna keep it short. I, female 25, am getting married to my fiancé next month. We've had no issues with the wedding planning except the guest list. Context: I have a large family. I have 2 stepsisters, 18-20, and a biological brother, 27, and also a biological sister, 30. My fiancé argued that the guest list should be cut short and suggested I only invite my immediate family. I asked him to elaborate, and he suggested excluding my stepsisters. I said no and got upset with him for implying that they're not family. He said, well, this wasn't what I meant. I was just speaking from a technical angle, especially since I didn't include them in the wedding party like maid of honor and bridesmaids, so he thought they were unneeded. But I said they are wanted, and will always be wanted and included by me. Well, days ago, my stepsisters called saying my fiancé canceled their invitations and told them some lie about changing wedding location and telling them they won't be able to come. I was fuming. I went home and started screaming at him. He asked that I hear him out, then explained he had no choice since we were required to shorten the list. And he just did my dirty work for me since I obviously was looking at the situation from an emotional angle and couldn't bring myself to disinvite my stepsisters myself. I called him a hypocrite because he invited almost 6 of his friends, who, as far as I know, aren't immediate family. I told him he hurt my stepsisters by going behind my back and excluding them from my wedding, which they've been so excited about. He got up from the couch and yelled that it's our wedding, so my stepsister's feelings aren't really that relevant compared to his, and called me controlling for wanting my way or the highway. He took his phone and stormed out to see his friends. Some of his friends called to scold me for how I'm treating their brother, and then went on about how rude it was to suggest that their brother disinvite them from the wedding just because I don't like them, and called it a you problem. My future mother-in-law called and is wanting to speak to me. He probably told her what's going on, and she is probably going to ask that I apologize for yelling. Please don't marry him, OP. Not to jump on the bandwagon here, but please don't marry him, OP. I am jumping on the bandwagon. Please don't marry him, OP. Not stay home. It sounds like he's the issue here for implying that those you consider to be your immediate family are unneeded. He also then canceled their invitations without asking you how you felt about that, even though you made your stance perfectly clear? Has he cut off any of his immediate relatives, or has he simply decided yours are more expendable? He then called you controlling when he went behind your back to uninvite your immediate family? He sounds like a nightmare. Then his friends started scolding you. That's a lot of red flags. Do any of them have any respect for you? And now he's trying to get his mom to ring you to put additional pressure on. There are so many issues here. Do not apologize to any of them. He removed your immediate family without considering your feelings, and is wholly in the wrong for that. But the only way you could be an a-hole is if you marry this guy. Give yourself a better future. Run. Some people worry about starting over, but marrying the wrong person will actually delay your life more. Think, OP. The divorce process takes a long time. I hate when Redditors jump to encourage one moving on from their spouse, but I have to agree in this case. Not stay whole, OP, and don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Not stay whole. Wow. Just wow. Girl, run. Do not marry this man. He doesn't even grasp the basics of family. Is this the kind of father you want for your kids? And his friends calling to berate you? The friends he surrounded himself with also don't seem to understand family. How dare he include them? How dare he ask them to call you? How dare they think they have any authority to tell you who gets to witness your commitment to another human being? This is your family, but he's not getting that. Uninviting your stepsisters behind your back is not only immature, he seems to have no ability to confront conflict. Inappropriate. He kept you out of a decision. Passive-aggressive red flags everywhere. And frankly, sinister. This is an important milestone in a person's life. An event so steeped in emotion that the memory will be seared into your brain. And the fact he can't understand you'd want to share it with your full family and have that memory of them witnessing and supporting your happiness is deeply concerning behavior. Don't expect your marriage to be any different. He just showed you who he really is, and he doesn't even see part of your family as family. I'm so sorry. It will be messy to cancel, but don't let that stop you. Next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for going on an expensive vacation and not helping fund my sister's IVF? My 30 male sister, 34 female, has been struggling to conceive with her husband for a few years now. They recently went to a gyno and were told they likely would be unable to without IVF. Obviously, she's upset about it. I don't know their exact financial situation, but she and her husband are both teachers at private schools. But they said their insurance doesn't cover it at all and that they were told it would likely be about $25,000, all in with the medication and everything. There was no guarantee of success and it could be $25,000 and no positive result. They asked me and my parents if we could help pitch in, and my parents objected due to it being against their religious beliefs. I'm not religious at all and don't have any ethical objections, but that's just a lot of money with no guarantee. So it seems like a bad idea and I'm just not comfortable with giving that amount to a family member. My wife and I work hard and we don't want to potentially throw money away if it didn't succeed, so we told them no. She was upset, but left it at that at a time when we told her. Well, my wife and I have always wanted to go to Europe. And now that travel is back on, we decided to take a trip together. I don't use social media, but my wife does, and she got excited and posted on her story confirmation of our flights being booked. Well, my sister saw that, and then texted me saying how I was an a-hole for spending all this money on a vacation, but not helping my own sister have a family. At first, I brushed it off as her just being upset at her situation, but then today I got another mean text from her. Am I the a-hole here? Not the a-hole. It's not your job to fund her dreams. It's really bizarre to me that that's not just the sister's first reaction, but that she doubled down on it. Yikes. Like, I already feel uncomfortable involving anyone other than my husband with the process of baby making, even just in the context of conversing about it. Hi, oversharing in-laws. I can't imagine feeling so entitled I'd freaking begrudge a family member their well-earned vacation, because I thought I deserved the money that they earned more. So many WTFs here. Not stay home. If they think IVF is expensive, do they have any idea how much parenting costs? You can, however, ask them to consider medical tourism. Plenty of countries where they can get quality treatment for a fraction of the cost, plus holiday. I agree that OP is not the a-hole, but I disagree with your argument. IVF is a huge one-time upfront cost. Raising children is expensive, but those expenses are spread out over time. I don't think it's fair to say if a couple can't afford IVF, they can't afford children, or shouldn't have children. Not stay home. Having been through IVF myself, I feel for your sister. She thinks you can help her and are choosing not to, and that must hurt her. That said, your money is your money. She asked for help and you declined. What you do with your money isn't her business. So confronting you more than once already about your trip makes her the a-hole. Not the a-hole. It is not your responsibility to pay for this. As someone who is currently going through IVF though, I do encourage you to read up on it and provide all of the emotional support you possibly can. It is a hellish experience, and she is going to need all the kindness you can possibly give. Also, if their insurance isn't going to cover it, it's likely going to cost way more than $25,000. Probably more like $40,000+. Now for the last story. Am I the a-hole for not helping my partner with our newborn? I know the title sounds bad, but I'm finding myself in a very difficult situation and I'm genuinely not sure if I'm in the wrong here. I'm 27 male, I'm a surgical resident. My partner, 27 female, was a teacher but is currently a stay-at-home mother to our newborn child. We met in college and have been together for just over 7 years now. Last year, she took a pregnancy test after missing her period and found out she was pregnant. We were both happy, but also concerned about taking care of a child. My main concern when we found out was that I could not help out with a child because I work 80 to 100 hours a week. However, we both love each other and did want a family. So in the end, we decided to keep the child, and that she would take time off of work while I was completing my residency and take care of the kid. I would complete my residency, and then after having somewhat more humane hours, would obviously split child caring duties equally with her so that she can also return to work. It's been 3 months since our kid was born now, and things have been rough to say the least. I'm still working nearly 100 hours a week and I'm constantly at the brink of exhaustion. If anything, my workload has increased since then, as I'm now learning how to perform larger operations. My sleep is almost non-existent, and I'm constantly under intense pressure due to my work environment. Things have obviously been rough for her too. The pregnancy and delivery were without complication, but it goes without saying that it was still hugely taxing on her mentally and physically. Recently, my partner has been asking me to take care of our kid when I get home. Initially, I helped her without hesitation, feeling like it was within my capacity and wanting to support her. But in the past few weeks, she's been asking more and more of me. And a few days ago, she demanded I take care of our kid immediately as I walked into the door. I hadn't even had time to take off my shoes yet, and when I said just give me a second, she told me to hurry the heck up. I later learned that she had an incredibly rough day and was just at capacity. But in the moment, I was so caught off guard I yelled at her to back off. I was too exhausted to deal with it then, so I locked myself in the bathroom to take a long shower and calm down. We later talked about what had happened and apologized to each other, but during it, she essentially told me that she felt like I wasn't doing enough to take care of the kid, and that it was our responsibility equally. I told her that I felt like I was already doing more than we agreed on, and that I can literally not do any more than what I'm currently doing. After talking and arguing about this for about 2 hours, we still couldn't come to an agreement and decided to leave the topic for now. So, am I the a-hole for not wanting to take on a larger parenting role during residency? Friends I've talked to seem split on the matter. No a-holes here. This is a case of two people drowning and arguing over who has their head up out of the water a few inches more than the other. You have a newborn, are working 100 hours a week, and a wife who is most likely so overwhelmed she can't see straight. Both of you are sleep deprived and not in your right mind. What you need is help. I don't care who said they would do what's before the baby came. It's here now and it's not what either of you expected. It's time to start from scratch and use your limited energy to find solutions to give you both reprieve. This right here. No one in this situation is the a-hole. They're just both exhausted, doing very taxing and demanding jobs/tasks and need help. I know Opie said they can't afford help right now, but they both need to figure out something before this tears them apart. No a-holes here. You're both exhausted and pushed to your limits. Snaps like this are going to happen. As long as you apologize afterwards and try to see things from the other point of view and remember you love each other, you'll be fine. Things will get better, but you have to tough it out. Can you hire help? Get family or friends to help out a little. When I was a baby, my mom's best friend took care of me a day or two a week, and she's still considered my aunt to this day. Don't know what your support system is, but you seem to need to leverage it a little more.
Update. Am I the a-hole for letting my pregnant daughter live with me, even though my girlfriend says no? Original post. I, 40 male, have an 18-year-old daughter with my ex-wife. We'll call her Maddie. We divorced when she was 7, and I had her 3 weekends a month. Her mom moved to a suburb almost an hour outside the city to be closer to her family and for a better school. My work was in the city, and after a while, Maddie got sick of all the driving and asked if we could go to a different schedule. We talked most days on the phone, and I have been very involved in her life. She's a great student, graduated with over a 4.0 GPA, has a lot of friends, and a, what I thought, very nice boyfriend. She has no idea what she wants to do with her life and had already decided to defer her scholarship a year to take classes at the community college and work. I also have a girlfriend, Vera, 37, and she gets along with Maddie great. We've been together about 2 years, and she just moved into my house a few months ago. Her old roommate got married and she couldn't afford rent alone. We'd been together almost 2 years, and I was considering proposing. So it seemed like a good idea after she couldn't find another place. She pays the electric and water bills, but my house is paid off, so I just pay taxes, insurance, and the other utilities, and it's been great. I didn't really date much the past few years between Maddie and work, so it's nice having someone always around. Vera doesn't want kids of her own, and I don't want any more, so it's been great. So for all that, Maddie is pregnant and her mom has kicked her out. Her boyfriend has another year left of nursing school and lives in a college apartment with roommates. She is, of course, staying here for now and found out late. She's due in January. She and her boyfriend went over the options and decided to keep the baby. She told me very meekly and asked if she could stay. I told her, of course, she knows this is disappointing, but she'll never stop being my baby. And if this is what's going to happen, I'm here to support her within reason. As in, I'm fine babysitting if she has work or class, and she will keep working and going to school. But I'm not babysitting for her to party or hang out with friends. If the boyfriend bails, which I was as kind as I could be but told her happens even with the nicest boys, she would need to file child support. And I would give her grace before and after birth. But when she's recovered, she will go back to doing chores on top of baby ones. I told her and the boyfriend to sleep on it, and they did, and came back with actual thoughtful responses, and even a budget goal that I found impressive. So, the tiny bedroom next to Maddie's that is currently home to a treadmill I never use is going to be a nursery. Of course, I've kept Vera in the loop during all of this, and she seemed really understanding until I told her the plan. And by this, I mean I don't know how many different ways I need to put this so it gets through people's heads. Vera and I discussed all of this before I talked to the kids. In depth, I made her very aware that the three of them could end up living here for a few years. She was supportive. I kept her in the loop. When them living here became the plan, she gave me an ultimatum and told me to kick my daughter out because she's an adult. I told her I wouldn't do that. She is still here and making everyone uncomfortable. She got upset and said if she wanted to raise a baby, she'd have one of her own. She said she didn't sign up for this and is not okay with it, and demanded I rescind the offer, that Maddie is 18 and needs to figure it out on her own if she wants to keep the baby. I told her I wouldn't do that. She'll always be my daughter and needs help. She threatened to move out if I didn't tell Maddie to get out, then got mad that I told her I understood. Now she's avoiding the both of us, but still staying here, or being snippy. I don't know what she expects me to do, but it's making the entire house anxious. Edit. Don't say Vera would be shocked that Maddie moved in. This is Maddie's home. She's always lived here. Yes, the rest is a surprise, but not my daughter living in her home. Now for the top comments before reading the update. 18 is barely an adult, and actual adults who think 18 is a proper age to be 100% on your own are a problem. Good job still being willing to be a parent to your child when she needs you, not the a-hole. Totally agree. Your first priority is and should always be your daughter. Coming in second is your girlfriend. If girlfriend can't understand this, then she's not the one for you. Your daughter is lucky to have a father who is loving and supportive, not the a-hole. Right. Of course I don't want anything bad to happen to my daughter, and now there's a grandbaby to worry about. Time to tell your girlfriend she can do what's best for her, but your daughter will probably be here for 3 to 4 years. Let her know you want her to stay, but your life will change. That's what I told her. She's not happy about it, and being rude to me. Not the a-hole. Vera lives with you, so she gets to have an opinion and make a choice for herself, and not be okay with this and even move out. You and Vera just may not be compatible anymore, but I think Vera is being unsympathetic. Even if this isn't what she wants, she should understand you are supporting your daughter. I even told her, I understand if you can't live here. I'm fine moving forward, living apart, and still dating, but I'm not kicking my kid out. Now for the update. My last post got a little overwhelming. I'm still glad I did it. Reading the comments, I just got to the point where I was like, what am I doing? I asked Vera to talk, and she started. She actually did kind of apologize, said she was just stressed because she expected Maddie to either keep the same custody schedule, or maybe a bit more, but not full-time and certainly not with a baby. And then she didn't think I'd actually let her live here with the baby. She said she'd be able to work with a compromise of Maddie and the boyfriend, let's call him Doug, getting their own place when he started working full-time, and they could promise to never ask her for help. I guess she thought as long as she had an end in sight, she would be able to handle it. I told her I understood, but her behavior was out of line and I can't see us working out after this. She was upset and seemed shocked and got pretty mad. I told her she was welcome to stay in the basement. Finished, walk out with a kitchenette for a month while she found a new place, and I'd pay her back for the bills she'd paid. $790, so I rounded up to $1,000. She wasn't happy with any of this and was freaking out, so I called and asked Maddie if she could stay with Doug for the night. I offered to give Vera some space, and she told me to F off. I was working from home that day, so I was around but not in her way at all while she moved her things downstairs. She had work that night and let me know the next morning she'd be moving to her friends. I offered help, but again she said no and left her key on the counter. I changed the security code but told her if she left anything there, just to let me know, and I'd let her in to come and get it. So I thought there'd be no drama. I was obviously sad but felt better about the whole thing. We can't prove anything, but Maddie's carnivorous plants started rapidly dying the last few days, and she said a bunch of her concentrated fertilizer was gone. We all know not to touch them or water them, as in she had me install rain barrels because they can't have tap water. She's devastated and hasn't said it directly, but I think we both believe Vera did something to them. I've asked her if she wants me to do anything about it, and she said no. At one point, Vera sent her a nasty text saying she's the reason I'm alone, and she hopes she's happy. I told her to block her. I don't know if she feels guilty or like she deserves it. She doesn't even want me to replace them and said she'll just try to salvage some of them. So if anyone knows of good sites in the US to buy pictures or pings, hit me up. So, not great. I'm gonna stay single for a while, obviously. But there's some good news. I have a female friend who Maddie has known forever and has had kids, and she took her out to lunch. My issue was that Maddie thought she could power through and take courses in the spring with a newborn. She wouldn't listen to me and told me she'd make it work. My friend was able to convince her that one semester wasn't going to ruin her life, so that is a positive. And the boyfriend, Doug, I talked with his parents. They are like me, not thrilled but going to be supportive and excited for a grandbaby. They live over an hour away, but I told them I had a spare room they could use when they visit. And Doug, who does work part-time while he's in school, I told him yes, work this semester. But next semester, your #1 job is to finish your degree no matter what. I am willing to support them both financially, and with the baby more than I normally would, next semester, because I know the best way to ensure my grandbaby has a good life is making sure their dad has his degree and a good job. He seemed to understand and was thankful. Maybe he's not as much of a ding-dong as I thought he was, lol. So, to recap, I broke up with Vera and she moved in with a friend. We don't know if it was her, but Maddie's plants have been dying and she's devastated. But the boyfriend is doing good and moving in, so he can be a present parent. You're a great example to Doug in how to father a child. Yes, OP is. You are doing a wonderful thing for your daughter and her boyfriend. It's ideal to do things in a certain order, but it doesn't always work out that way. OP giving them a place to stay and supporting them and their babies so they can finish school is amazing. OP is my hero dad for today. Good riddance to Vera. As far as the plants go, I'd try transplanting them. Remove as much soil as possible from the roots first. I agree with this as well. Remove soil carefully. If there's a root ball, shake and poke, then soak it and gently prod with a thin stick to help greatly. Rinse it a ton, even the leaves. Heck, leave the roots in just some spring water for a day or two to help them soak up some water, and then plant them. It'll be a shock to the plants and not all might make it, but I've had plants come back from some seriously awful mistakes and mishaps, so I trust the damage to the plants can be fixed. This is what she's been doing, but most of the leaves and pictures are destroyed. Last story. Am I the a-hole for refusing to find a way to live with my dad's girlfriend's daughter? My dad's girlfriend is Jenny, and she has a daughter, Ruby, who's the same age as me, 17 male. Me and Ruby met when we were 11. She had just moved here and was a transfer student at school. At first, we didn't really interact, and she made friends with some other kids. But then when we did virtual school, she would DM me during classes and ask me if I liked this friend of hers, and she did it so much that I asked her why the heck she kept asking when I said no. I reported it to our teacher and got her into trouble, which pissed her off. Ruby went back to school in person before me and bothered all my friends about me liking her friend. Then she tried to set two of them up with her friend. When I went back to school in person, she tried to kiss me one day out of nowhere, and I stopped her and was like, "What the heck are you doing?" She really tried to make me accept that kiss, but I was taller and stronger than her, so I could keep her away from my mouth easier. After I wouldn't let her kiss me, she went to the principal and said one of my friends assaulted her friend, and she made this big deal out of her friend being afraid to report what happened. Her friend said it was all lies and nobody assaulted her, and Ruby got into huge trouble. That's when I came forward with her trying to kiss me, and it got her into more trouble. My dad knew about the thing with Ruby and had to meet with the principal about it. Me and Ruby ended up sharing a bunch of classes when we started high school, and she acted like we were exes or something. She went from obsessing over me liking her friend to trying to kiss me, and my friends were like, "She probably likes you and wanted to make sure you didn't like the other girl." But everything about it was weird and gross, like trying to get one of my friends in trouble and trying to make me kiss her. It was a few months after high school started that Dad told me he was dating Jenny, and I already had a big problem with him dating her because of Ruby. But I tried to let it go for my dad's sake. But then when he told me 2 months ago that he was going to ask Jenny to move in with him and that would include Ruby, I told him hell no, and I packed a bunch of my stuff and went to my grandparents' house. Dad told me I couldn't just do that, and I said I would not live with Ruby. Jenny and Ruby moved in, and Dad kept trying to make me come home. He said all 4 of us needed to sit down and find a way for me and Ruby to live together, but I said I won't. He asked me why and what I will do when we see each other at family functions, and I told him I'd avoid those functions, or if I was in charge of the guest list, I wouldn't invite her. I accused him of choosing Ruby over me. I know he chose his relationship with Jenny over me, but I was like, the fact you expect me to let her invade more of my life is sick, and I told him I was disappointed in the dad he was being. He told me I wasn't being fair, and since Mom died, Jenny is the only woman who has truly made him happy and showed him a future he wants. He said I could at least try to learn to live with Ruby for a while, and if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. I told him I didn't want that girl anywhere near me. My dad has tried to convince my grandparents to send me back, but they don't want me there either. They told him they don't want to see a violent incident between me and Ruby, and that it could easily happen with the history between us. Dad was like, that wouldn't happen, and he said he wanted us all to try and make this work for his sake. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Real talk, and you need to say this to your dad. What happens when she claims sexual assault? What happens when she goes into your room at night when you are sleeping and physically violates you? What happens when she starts hiding and taking compromising pictures of you? What happens when you have no safe place and no privacy from someone who is already unstable? She can destroy your life before it gets to really start, and your dad is okay with that? My dad thinks therapy fixed her, so those questions are wasted on him. We already fought about that stuff, and he's just so convinced she's changed. Wait until she accuses your dad of something. That will be her next step. Wouldn't be surprised one bit if she turns on him the moment he stops siding with her. Not the a-hole. If you two were alone, and she tried something else and you said no, she could accuse you of rape. You are better off with your grandparents. They are the bosses for standing up to your dad. I'm glad they're in your corner. Same. I legit don't know what I would have done if I had nobody to take me and fight for me. Right now I might be in jail or something, knowing how much of a disaster it would be for me and Ruby to live together. Not the a-hole. Ruby is both obsessed with you and disconnected from reality. After her past accusations about you, you need to keep your distance. Not only would living with her be sheer misery and constant stress for you, but also, if you lived in the same house with her, you could find yourself accused by her of SA. Since you are a minor, your father can insist you move back in with him. I would act preemptively by contacting CPS. Tell them the whole story. You can offer proof through the schools and ask to be emancipated from your father since he is letting your stalker live in his house. I don't know that I trust CPS not to send me back anyway. I'd prefer to stay and fight in the courts than risk a crazy social worker putting me back there. My best friend is a foster kid, so I know that some of them do crazy stuff and don't always take things as seriously as they should.